Well, welcome to Life on the Bench. My name is Bryan and my co-host here is Dave.
Nice to meet you all.
Now, this is our inaugural episode and we thought we'd give you guys a little bit of background about us, I guess the reasoning behind why we started this podcast. Where do you think we should start, Dave?
Start at the beginning, as always, like 16 years ago now.
Yeah, 15? It is actually about that. Yeah. Far out.
So we've known each other longer, or almost as long as we've been alive, almost, or half at least.
Yeah, we're actually nearly there. That's actually a really long time.
We've almost got to the point where we've known each other for longer than, like, we haven't known each other.
Yeah, and I look forward to getting to that point. I'm sure we'll still like each other when we get to that point as well. But you do never know.
Nothing's guaranteed. Yeah, you're right. Nothing's guaranteed.
Well, the beginning would be 2005, actually. High school, year 11.
Mm-hmm.
I started a brand new school, and I guess Dave did not know that I started a brand new school because he started at that school but a couple of weeks after me.
I'm probably like halfway through term one.
Yeah.
So I think it was middle of February, maybe a bit like March, maybe.
Okay. Yeah, somewhere around there. So I guess, we'll take halfway through term one, I guess. But yeah, because I started a brand new school. And I guess we're laughing about it because it's funny now, to us at least. What was it? What lesson were we in where I had no friends?
Phys ed, definitely. Yeah. I remember that. It was very clear.
I was a good old no friends in phys ed, even though I thought I was quite a very good phys eder, or at least good at physical activity. But I had no friends, and you had the classic schoolyard games, I guess, of pick a friend or pick a team that you want to be in. And here comes Dave, I guess, 4 or 5 weeks into the start of the year, looking at me as just a Mr. No Friends.
Well, new school, new country, survival of the fittest. So it's like, well, what are you going to do? You get a choice. Do you go with the guy who's been there for his whole time, or who's got no mates, or do you go with the guy who has mates? I went with the guy with mates. Probably pretty solid decision, I thought. I don't think anyone would blame me on that one.
No, and I guess after I got to know Dave, I asked him why. But yeah, he decided not to choose me as his teammate, and he decided to choose another guy who I'm pretty sure later that term even just left the school and we never heard from ever again.
Yeah.
But yeah, classic. He thought I was at that school from, I guess, year 7. And like you said, survival of the fittest. That's how they do it out in Africa.
Yep.
And he wanted to choose someone who he thought had friends, not some guy who had no friends and was just sitting in a corner.
And there you go. 15 years later, we're best mates. So that's it's pretty ironic, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. But yeah, I guess we did eventually start hanging out in high school. But if we go a few years forward until out of high school, what are we like, 19, 20, just bumming around, don't really know what we're doing. And we just pretty much, I guess we run into each other again and we start hanging out. And
well, that's only through luck once again, being in our other good mate Ben's class. At TAFE, which is like a community college in Australia.
Yeah, for you American listeners.
Yes. So they bumped into each other, and kind of I was hanging out with Ben at that time. And then, kind of all kicked into gear, and as fate would have it, it just keeps pushing us together.
Yeah. So, we reconnected through our mutual friend, Ben. Yeah, TAFE, that was a long time ago. Since then we've, I guess, like any friends, I guess you gain friends and you lose friends, but between us, I guess it's remained constant. It's been quite a good friendship overall, actually. I don't know the start year or the start date for when we started our on the bench conversations, the namesake for this podcast. But I probably was maybe 6, 7 to 8 years ago, maybe.
To be honest, I reckon it was before podcasts was a mainstream thing.
Yeah?
I reckon we were doing this without recording ourselves. We've been doing it 20s, early 20s.
Yeah, or definitely early 20s for sure. Whether it be, I know we didn't always go to a bench or a park, which did become our tradition, but we would be in, I guess, more of a 20-year-old fashion. You would hang out in a car park. We would sit on the back of your car, your very cheap first car. But yeah, it developed into just every week we would meet up. We would get some snacks, get some drinks, and we just literally chat about life, just anything that came to the top of our head. And as Dave said, I guess podcast before podcast.
Yeah, at least before we knew.
Yeah, before we knew they existed, yeah.
So, I mean, it's a shame because I had some pretty good conversations over the years about some very, very topical issues and some very random issues that would think no one would ever have this conversation. But it sustained us for 3 hours at a time. And yeah, so we thought might as well record this in audio form now, and yeah, just get a catalogue of our lives essentially, which is ultimately what this would one day become.
Yeah, and I guess our conversation it's interesting to us. In some respects, I guess it's even the highlight of my week in some weeks. As you get the typical, you grow old and you get other responsibilities, but it's always good to come back and have a really good chat with a mate. And as Dave said, 2-3 hour conversations, and where did the time go,
Yeah.
So we thought it would be really cool. Let's get this on record. And if no one listens, hey, no one listens. But if people listen, then people do listen. We just thought, you never know unless you put it out there.
Definitely. But I mean, it must be for all those people that see these two guys consistently every Sunday around about 2 p.m. sitting on a bench drinking milk, iced coffees, as is usually the flavor of the week. And thinking, why are these two people sitting on a bench? They're a bit too young for that. But we did it every week, every weekend rather. Sometimes doubled up, especially during the holidays. And yeah, it's definitely one of the highlights of my week, that's for sure. I think it's very difficult for people to catch up consistently, and every person I've told that without fail for years on end, that I catch up every Sunday or Saturday, whatever it may be, at least once a week with my mate and have a chat, and they always looked at me and it's like, wow, that's pretty impressive. Like, I haven't seen my best mate in 6 months or however long it's been, and yeah, we can honestly say that's probably not happened unless like we've been away on holiday or something, but none of us have ever been away on 6-month holidays. So.
No, very true. I think that's a really important point as well. The classic of life is you grow out of your friends, or you move on in life, or you're always too busy. But I guess something we've tried to keep constant is you just make time for something that I guess that's important. I think anyone will agree with us. Friends are important. You need those type of relationships, and they're just as important as your family. You can't discount them. And it's something that we've kept going, and it's just been awesome.
And I think the more you look at it, like the more you realize that your friends actually shape who you become. Like they sort of influence you into what music you like to listen to, and what activities you like to do. And obviously we got into very similar activities, such as, or mostly just exercising, which was something that we'll probably discuss in great lengths later on. We've done it all. There's probably nothing that we haven't done. I mean, within reason, and there's many stories that I'm sure you guys will think that we're making up, but we're not. And some real relationship testers at times. But yeah, if anything, it's always just brought us closer together with our friends. Yeah, I think looking back on it now, I don't know how we ever did it, but I'm glad we did. And yeah, I probably enjoyed them more afterwards, to be honest. But looking back, definitely enjoyed all the different challenges that we've always used to set ourselves. Kind of grown out of that a bit now, a bit older, but I'm sure we still got that warrior spirit in us. It will come out one day, I'm sure.
Yeah, those old exercise challenges, as Dave said. Probably some done in stupidity. But yeah, we'll definitely we'll go into detail for those as well. One thing that Dave brought up that I want to come back to is just how he's talking about how relationships, I guess, just shape who you are. That's something I've thought about, I guess, a fair bit over the years. Through some studies I did at university and different just life experiences, it is actually amazing. Like the environment you're in, the people you choose to associate with, how much they actually do shape you. And I don't think enough people actually realize the effect, not even your friends, just someone that you might consider an acquaintance can actually have on you, and then the decisions you make in life. Like Dave said as well, interests just seem to align. And when they didn't, we had a real good conversation about it. If they were negative on negative, or if they were positive and positive, you would still talk about it. But at the end of the day, I guess we've both grown as people. But a lot of the things we like, I guess, they've come and they've really aligned. And if they haven't aligned, well, I guess we've challenged each other. Well, why does this person that I enjoy hanging out with, why the heck would they choose to do this?
Yeah.
You've made this, for example, I don't even know what a good example would be of a stupid decision, but, why would you choose to do this?
I suppose one would be like rap music, for example, like
oh, yeah.
DMX, 50 Cent,
goodness.
The Game, all the well-known rappers. And then we came to the conclusion that we have nothing in common with sort of like these rappers. Like we're not from America, we're not sort of we don't live that lifestyle in terms of what the messages are generally about. We're a lot more conservative and reserved individuals, yet we listen to this music, and like you'll walk past someone who also listens to the music, and they'll be completely different to us. And it's like that one time when we were probably a handful of times that we went out to Northbridge, which is the local nightclub district in Perth, and DMX Party Up in Here.
Yeah, DMX Party Up in Here.
And obviously, great song. Everyone knows the chorus.
Yeah.
But then Brian, myself, Ben, and our other mate Jesse, the four of us, whilst everyone slows down after the chorus, the four of us, we just keep going. We know every single word, and we probably look like the people in the club that would less likely to know those sorts of words. And it wasn't just that song; it was everyone. It was Lil Wayne, Jeezy.
Yep.
Well,
it's pretty much just, what was it? It's three white guys. We've got a little bit of a tan, but fairly pasty, and one half Burmese guy. Yeah. You don't look like it, but I guess we fully got into that, didn't we? We learned all the words, all the raps, the new albums. But you're right, we don't live like that. But for some reason, we just gravitated towards it. Yeah. And what was that? That was like, so I guess since year 11 when we met. Yeah. Like 16-year-olds, probably until. Yeah. Or maybe until mid-20s.
Yeah, I guess so. But every now and then the classics come on, and it just triggers that old memory in your brain, and you just let loose with all those lyrics. And you just let them have it.
I think the recall's amazing when you hear that beat. You haven't heard the song for 5 years or so, but you hear the beat and you know all the words.
Which is why I'd struggle to wonder why some people can't recall basic information that you told them half an hour ago.
Yeah, that's true. Well, there's probably scientific, I guess, some studies into that. But maybe if you don't give someone information or words in a musical form, maybe without a beat. But you're right, some people struggle to remember.
Well, I suppose you got to learn something 21 times on average, before you'll remember it. So I suppose if you looked at the old iPods, that's what we used to have. Obviously, when we listened to this music, no Spotify back then, and you'd see play times, and you'd see well over 200, 300 play times, and at least 95% of those were when we were together, driving in the most inconspicuous Daewoo Matiz.
Yeah, Daewoo Matiz. Oh man, that's such a tiny car. That's only a fraction bigger then that little, what's that branded for that smart car? You know, that 2-seater smart car?
Mm. Oh,
Really
I think it's
only
called a smart car.
Is it called a smart car? Oh, there you go, smart car. Yeah, only a little bit bigger. I think it's a 0.8 litre for those of you that know about engines. It's really tiny.
So it's half of what a normal standard Toyota Corolla would be. I think
Pretty
that's
much.
a 1.8.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, pretty much. But
wow.
that was my first car actually. I was the first one to get our license out of our group of friends. And yeah, we just cruised around town in our daily Matiz.
It went everywhere. Literally everywhere.
Literally everywhere. Places where it was meant to go, places where it was definitely not meant to go. A few off-roading trips onto footpaths and alleyways and things like that. But I don't know if what's that period of where you can get convicted for a crime?
7 years.
Yeah, so that hasn't probably gone up yet. So maybe we'll talk about that a little bit later. Has it gone up?
No, definitely. Oh, yeah, we're all over now.
Oh, yeah, all right. Well, what do? There was, what was that train station that we were near?
Oh, I can't remember.
Yeah, we're near a train station, and I'll try to create a picture in your mind with my words. Basically, there is a train track that runs over a bridge, and to one side of this train track is a 4-way intersection with traffic lights on each end or each, section of the compass. But there was also a fairly wide footpath that led under a pedestrian tunnel, and the tunnel then curved to the right, and it followed up a track that went to the train station. Probably was about maybe 11 o'clock, maybe midnight.
It was really late.
Yeah. We were all in the car, just piled in the Matiz, and then I don't know who saw it first, but whoever did mentioned it, and we thought, you know what, let's do it. So we started off when the light hit green. I veered right a little bit, mounted the footpath, drove up under the bridge. Did we get all the way to the train station?
No, definitely
the footpath didn't allow us, did it?
No.
Even the Matiz is a tiny car, but it didn't allow us to get the full access that normal pedestrians enjoy.
That's probably a good thing, to be honest.
Yeah, because I don't know. I'm hoping, looking back on it now, we wouldn't have actually gone all the way, but yeah, just stuff like that, I guess.
I suppose boys being boys.
Yeah, that's not too bad compared to some of you guys. Some things people do for fun and kicks.
Yeah, well, I suppose we're never really into that whole drinking culture. That's never been a part of our lives. So we had to find other ways to entertain ourselves. So we did, and we used imaginations, and yeah, I wouldn't change it for the world. Didn't do anything too extreme. Didn't hurt anybody, which is the main thing, obviously.
Yeah.
Didn't hurt we didn't hurt each other, I guess, but just maybe like put each other under unnecessary stress in terms of just having to rise to the occasion many times when you didn't want to.
Yeah.
Like
the fear of letting down your mates.
I don't know if any of you guys have ever done 50 walking lunges in a row. And I think it was it like Easter? Was it an Easter or Boxing Day or it was a public holiday?
It's one of the holidays, yeah.
And I think we have this massive park, and it's called Kings Park. And there's this, it's almost like a kilometer of just empty land with trees on either side, like a massive alleyway. And obviously families are all having fun. It's a nice public holiday. And we decided to go check out one of these monuments. It's called the DNA Tower. You can look it up. And I can't remember who. It's probably you, to be honest. Who thought it would be a good idea to lunge a whole kilometer down. But not only that, you got to come back up. Like, what's the point? It's not, you got to come home.
Yeah, and I figured if you're going to lunge there, you probably should lunge back. You don't want to walk back or just ruin the journey.
And the amount of looks that we were getting, but you know what? After a good 10 minutes of lunging, you don't care anymore.
No.
And by then we were so used to people just giving us odd stares and just wondering what are these two guys doing, that we're pretty used to by then, to be honest. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
what would you think if you saw two youngsters, doing that?
I don't know. Actually, I haven't actually seen. I guess apart from normal people exercising at normal exercise equipment at parks and things like that. But yeah, that's one of the things that, as we mentioned earlier, I guess that we do seem to do fairly often, and we weren't involved in the drinking culture and things like that. Mostly the things we did, I guess, for fun was just random exercise challenges or challenges we thought that might test us mentally. And yeah, the 2 kilometers of lunging, that definitely did test us mentally. But I think it was quite fun. Looking back on it, I remember it being really fun. I do not remember if we put any weight in our bag for that one.
No, I think that one was just. Oh no, we did 10Ks. It wasn't.
Yeah. So we put 10 kilos in a backpack, I think, and then we just did it. But the good thing about that one I remember was lunging out. So your first kilometer away from the DNA tower, that was downhill. So that's harder, I think.
Yeah. Well, that's what we learned. Like you wouldn't think, like when you think lunging. Secret hint: go uphill. It's so much easier.
Yeah, if you want an easier time lunging uphill is easier than flat.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's probably to do with the range of motion in your hips.
Yeah, I suppose so.
Yeah.
And going downhills, that's just terrible.
Downhill was hard for keeping my balance for sure. Yeah, and you would have to go deeper than a normal lunge on flat ground.
Well, that just brings me to our next lunging event, of which we had many. I think it was the day either before or the day of that I was getting back to South Africa. So a nice 12-hour flight, and once again at Kings Park, but not at this other place, but near this place called Jacob's Ladder. And there's this massive hill, such a steep incline, like it's steep. Think of San Francisco steep.
Yeah, it's that. Yeah. I don't know if you could say 30 degrees because that's probably pretty ridiculous.
Yeah, or whatever.
At least 25 degrees, I reckon.
Yeah, it's a hill that you run up, and halfway you think I can't make it.
Yes. Yep.
One of those sorts of hills. But anyway, so we're just there. I don't think any of us decided to do anything remotely challenging on that day. We're just kind of catching up before I went away, and Bryan just suggests.
No, it was Jesse.
Was it Jesse?
Yeah,
sorry, our other mate Jesse.
Because I was there, Dave was there, and our other friend Jesse was there.
That's right. That's right.
It was not me with the idea.
And I remember. Yeah, that's right.
But I did not discourage it.
And he said, "Oh, wouldn't it be fun if we lunged up and down the hill?" Just joking. Once you put that challenge to us, and if one's doing it.
Yeah, the seed was in there, and I said yes, and Dave said yes, and Jesse didn't do it.
Yeah, it's probably because he's probably at that time the most mature one of us, or actually definitely the most. No,
definitely at the time.
The guy.
But he also played a state sport, so
yeah,
he couldn't get injured or things like that from stupid little things like that. So we did these challenges and not Jesse.
Yeah, so we just took one for the team. I don't remember doing it. I remember doing it. I don't remember doing it though. I think I blacked out. Like it was.
Well, that one was more to me. That one was more painful.
Yeah. Because
of the decline, and we started going down because where you park at the top of that hill basically, and wasn't parking at the bottom of the hill, so we started going down the harder portion, and by the time we were halfway at the bottom, even if you quit, you have to walk back up that hill, which as a walk with your legs on fire is not good anyway. So you just might as well lunge it. And that was not great at all.
But I mean, I suppose these things looking back now, I could never do it. Like I probably could. I don't want to. I definitely don't want to do it.
No, I don't want to do it.
I'd probably be buried for a few weeks afterwards. So I'm actually I always actually maintained quite a bit of pride in that, in those facts, like saying that we've done that, and I can honestly say I don't think anyone else has ever done that, at least what we've done.
Well, yeah, I guess it's not as common for someone to just want to, for fun, lunge 2 kilometers with their friends.
No.
I mean, another lunging one, we're on a lunging theme at the moment, but we did from that, I know it was a 700 meters out and 700 meters back. That was outside of Dave's old house. And I know we got, we did this, Dave, myself and Ben, with my other friend Ben did this. And I know for some reason we did it shirtless. That was one of my memories of that one. Yeah. One of my only shirtless things I did. It was on a main street of Perth. And then we lunged uphill 700 meters and downhill 700 meters. Crossing
roads too, mind you.
Yeah, we crossed, two, was it one or two roads?
No, just the one.
Just the one. But we had to lunge across while not interfering with traffic too much. I don't think we succeeded with that. Traffic was interfered with, but we had to lunge across the road.
What did that lady say? Why are you guys doing this? What are you training for?
Oh yeah, what are you training for? We got asked by a lady, and I think someone said life to her. I don't know who it was, but it might have been Davey. He said that some of that quite a bit. But yeah, just training for life.
That's it. I think that's pretty much been the reason behind everything that we've done. And why do you do it? Just because, why not? You know, depending on what you believe in. I think you've only got one life, so why not? You know, and you fall into that trap of not doing what you want to do. You know, the older you get the more responsibilities, and obviously you got to take care of those. But still, don't forget. You know, you should never forget those days where you could. You know, you could just do whatever, and you're a bit more free, and you have that mindset that you can achieve these crazy goals no matter what they are, and just go for it. Because I think we get too stuck in our ways now, and everything sort of comes about, you know, working that 9 to 5, or in our case 9 to 2:40, 8:30 to 2:40. And you know, just you kind of forget where you come from, and you always say you don't want to turn into those people, and slowly, unless you do something about it, you inevitably turn into that person, don't you?
Well, that's the thing about life, and I think Dave and myself, we've definitely noticed that as you get older, it just feels like a creep as all those adult responsibilities come in. You know, you need to hold down a job, you need to pay for your mortgage, your kids get involved, you get married, all these things, and it's just like. I think a lot of people fall into human nature, which is whatever situation you're in, what can I do that's easiest for me, or how can I even just get out of this situation where it doesn't require too much effort on my behalf. But a big thing, I guess, I've just realized as we were talking about it, a lot of the things we did when we were younger, when we didn't have that responsibility, we seemed to actively seek things that were hard or things that were challenging. And we did them just for fun. Like literally whenever we would hang out, I don't know if it was every time, but definitely more than half the time. Every time we hung out, we always did something. We would always exercise, or we would always go on a little adventure, and then we would relax and chill and catch up on what, you know, how our week was, how our day was. It was never just sit down, do nothing.
Yeah, and it was never the same routine. It was always something new. I mean, I'd be confident to say that the two of us have the single best working memory, besides taxi drivers, of like the streets in Perth. Like we've been everywhere and anywhere. You know, just take a left here, take a right. Let's just check out this area. As we always say, doing some reconnaissance.
Yeah, we're big into reconnaissance.
That's it.
You never lost. You're just doing reconnaissance.
That's it. So you're always just finding new spots, and you know that old mentality of not waiting for fun to happen to you, like actually creating memories instead of just, you know, hanging out on social media and I don't know, just all that normal stuff that people seem to do now for fun that never really caught our attention. And just make our own fun.
And that's one thing I've never fully understood. If you want to be, what are those people that, I don't even know their names, but they order food at a restaurant and they take all these snapshots and they have to take a photo of their food and blog it.
Food critics or food bloggers or whatever.
Yeah, whatever they are. Or they have to just get dressed up to take a photo, but you don't go anywhere. I don't get that. The amount of people that I think just spend too much time on their phone, or if they're in an experience and then like, I have to record it. I have to take a photo of this. Why can't you just literally stand there and live the experience and have that of it? You do not need to be holding up a phone like if you're at a concert and all this other stuff.
That just reminds me of one of our other traits of whenever we go away on a holiday, and you're interested in where the other person's going. Send me a picture, and you'll get the picture back, but it's always a picture of your boots or your shoes or whatever.
Feet. It's just feet on the ground. That's the picture you get back.
Every single shot. So you could be standing in front of one of the world's
Eiffel Tower
or anything, but you ain't going to see it. You're going to see some boots.
Yeah, you're going to see
some
boots
grass,
on the ground.
Maybe some concrete.
Yeah.
Concrete's got a good reflection, so probably concrete actually.
Well, New Zealand came with quite a few good ones of those photos. I remember a few of Dave's feet just in front of a nice little creek, or was it a creek or a lake or a river, something like that.
Yeah, it was very very emotional capture on that day.
Yeah, every photo definitely. Well, as you know, any photo you look at is 1,000 words, isn't it?
That's it. And I think I've only got another 50 photos in me for the rest of my life, so you got to use them wisely.
Yeah, but that's it. Why? I think that's a big thing today with people as well. You need to feel like you have to take a photo. You need to put a post up on whatever social media you're on. You have to tell everyone else about your life.
Yeah.
Why can't you actually live your life? And you've got you have the classic case of, I don't know if it's keeping up with the Benjamins, but it's like appearances are deceiving.
Big time.
What you're putting out there to the public, that's not generally going to be the real you.
No. And you know what, when I was a bit younger, and I always used to wonder why I wasn't like that. I don't know if you felt that way, but it's like, why am I not into, like the average 19-year-old, 20-year-old things, like going to parties and drinking way too much, and it's just never hit me. You always used to, because that was obviously when Facebook started coming out, and see all these tailored lives on social media, and at that age you're still pretty naive to think that is actual reality. If only we knew what we know now.
Yeah, that's true.
Just like the song.
I probably never considered it from that from that point of view, actually. I guess I did feel it. Probably my feelings or experiences from that was I always felt, I guess, a bit secluded in that sense, because I never enjoyed going to. I mean, at that age, even when you're like 17 or 18, before you can legally drink, it's like house parties and things like that. Whenever I went to them, I would always just I went to them and I didn't really want to be there.
No.
But you felt some type of force within you that I have to be here. Everyone that I know that's cool is here. Or you'll come back to school the next week and hear all the stories about this wicked house party. But if you went there, you would not even enjoy yourself.
I think there's more people like that led on, to be honest. But I think we were lucky that we had such a common sort of interest that, even when we were at parties, we'd still just pretty much just talk to each other.
Yeah, that's true, actually.
Talk to like the acquaintances that we all knew for a bit, and then get out there and go do something else.
Yeah.
And what I think that's probably one of the highlights of growing up so far, to be honest. Well, not so far. I'm in my 30s now, so getting there. But it's definitely the 20s was just being able to make our fun, and almost earn your right to sit down and have a chat.
Yeah.
Which is, it's a bit of post-traumatic stress from time to time, but definitely well worth it.
Well, yeah, that's actually right. Earn your right to sit down and have a chat. Well, because we definitely, I think through the years when we hung out, it molded into, we would always exercise. And I guess not for a professional athlete, but for our standards, quite intensely. But we always made sure that would get done. And whether it be, running, weights or whatever, we mostly exercised at a really good oval here in Perth, McGillivray Oval. I think, what's that stat about McGillivray? Was
the best, or so-called best, grass running track in the world, on the southern hemisphere, something like that.
and maybe was free in there, the best free grass running track.
Yeah.
So anyone really has access to it.
Mm.
But that became our haunt for quite a few years. But yeah, we would just go out, make sure we take care of business, as we called it, health and fitness, and then you're earning your catch up afterwards. And I guess for us, it just felt like you're making yourself better, you're making your friend better. Well, as we know, health and well-being, that's something that too many people are just neglecting completely. Your own body, the organic machine that helps you to live and do everything in your life. For us, it's always been quite important to want to keep that pretty healthy.
Yeah, and to be honest, the last, I suppose, year and a half has been a bit of a letdown in terms of me personally compared to what I was used to. So, that's where we're going to start making the hard choices and, actually commit, which is, that's the first thing you got to do is make the right decision. So with all the extra responsibilities comes the extra discipline, I guess, self-discipline that you have to acquire. I mean, when you're younger, you obviously have a lot more time to do these sorts of things and you can move your day around whenever you please. But as you get older, especially yourself, with all your extra responsibilities, you find it a bit more difficult. But that's probably the reason why, like, this podcast is going to be such a special thing, I guess, just because it is making time just to hang out and chat and get back into the groove of having just the good old times where we talk about everything and anything, and just record it for our future whoever really wants to listen to it, to be honest.
I guess anyone that wants to listen to it. But no, I think you're right as well. We are really doing this a lot for ourselves. If we get an audience, then so be it. But it's a definite, I guess, the struggle we both have had over the last year and a half to 2 years. Your life changes. Like those responsibilities we're talking about, and you just naturally will gravitate away from your friends you've had for years and years or other people you've known. But why aren't you trying to make some time in your life? You need to you need to be the master of your own schedule to as much as you can. Certain things you can't control. You can't control the hours when you work. You can't control, I guess, if you've got kids, you can't control really when they will need you. You can set that. I guess you can set their schedule for when they go to sleep and things like that and do as best as you can. But you need to control as many aspects of your life as you can. And I don't think enough people realize that they can actually do that.
No, not at all. I think a lot of people just make excuses that it's too hard. And I've fallen into that trap quite a few times recently. But, I think that's self-awareness. That's when you realize, yep, you can take your foot off the brakes every now and then. And, you can't have a bad year or a bad month or whatever, bad week. But that doesn't mean, that doesn't make that your new norm. Catch yourself whenever you do and just get back to it. Get back on the bench, so to speak, and get back to creating the memories. And that's what I'm looking forward to with this. So we're bringing to life our week-to-week events from a perspective. Like, you'll find that Bryan and myself, we do share a lot of common traits, I would imagine, in terms of not only the way that we see the world, but like what we do as a profession as well. We have a lot of similar interests, so a lot of it will be us just probably agreeing with each other, to be honest.
Yeah, true.
We don't really argue, do we? Like, I don't think
you could maybe, some people can class it maybe as arguing, but it's really a discussion of, I guess, different sides and different point of views of an issue, which I think, I guess, through practice, through however we've dealt with in life, we realize. Well, I know that I realize it, and I definitely know you realize it as well, Dave. There's not just one side to an argument or a story.
No, definitely.
And you need to actually take a step back and consider all the different aspects of things. And that's a way that we definitely like to discuss issues as well. and even just throw in random things that we might have heard about something to see what the other person thinks of it. Because well, I guess one thing we've talked about a lot recently is all the clickbait type articles that are out there for things. And it is amazing what a negative effect they can have on the wider society of someone who will just read this little portion of an article that's made the headline and not even read the article itself.
Yeah, well, that's pretty much society currently when it comes to forming an opinion. Is unfortunately a lot of us aren't willing to actually sit down and listen to people to talk and listen to their point of view, and then you don't have to agree with them, but at least hear them out before you try to, I don't know, whatever it is they're trying to do these days. Cancelling them or whatever it is.
Yeah,
how do you cancel somebody? Do you press?
I don't get
press
the cancel culture.
Top right hand corner, click the X or something. Well, how does it work?
Yeah, it definitely confuses me, but also I guess saddens me a bit that you can that can affect someone's life so negatively if they get caught up in this cancel culture. They've said something that's been deemed to be so inappropriate. They might have said it on their Twitter, and then they lose their job over it. They lose their career. Then how are they going to support their family?
Well, especially when it's like 10 years ago they said it. If you asked me 10 years ago,
oh yeah,
I wouldn't listen to me as a 20-year-old.
Well, exactly right. That thing too. How can you look back that far and then you just crucify someone based on a decade-old comment?
Well, that's it. All these people that are doing that, I mean, by all means, bring it up. But then I want you to go back 10 years in your history, and let's look at your track record and see if you are the person you say you are. Because I guarantee you will not be that person.
Oh yeah, if you're willing to vilify, and that's the biggest thing about, I think, the people that do this to each other. You don't ever get that person named. Who's the one that's yelling at this person, that's cancelling them? What's that other term I've heard, doxing or something, where you reveal someone's name.
Sending them to the shadow roll.
You shadow block them.
That's it.
Who's the person that's shadow blocking them? Who is the person that's ruining their career? Because they're never named. No. It's this big unnamed group that has so much power. And
those we do not name.
Yeah, exactly right.
Voldemort.
They're Voldemort. It is just ridiculous. And they, like you said, they should be the ones that background is open then. If you want to do this to someone else, well, come on, tell me your past.
Well, if you're willing to literally ruin someone's life just because they said something that offends you, well, at the end of the day, the only one who can make something offensive to you is you. You're the only one who can be offended by something.
Yeah.
So maybe you look at yourself as opposed to trying to talk on other people's behalf, because a lot of the times this group of people will be really offended by this. It's like, well, are you talking with them or are you talking for them?
Yeah, and that's a big difference.
A lot of times these people that are cancelling and doing all this sort of thing, they're assuming that people are upset with it. So go and talk to the people themselves. Go and do some research, do your facts. But to blame someone for something they did 10 years ago, 5 years ago, even last year, I mean, geez, everyone changes every year, every week.
Yeah.
I mean, I change every week,
Well, definitely. And I don't see how you can say to someone, no, you can't change your opinion from what you said before.
Well, then if that's the case, then you, as a human being, you can never progress. If you can't evolve from where you were emotionally and mentally and academically, however way you want, how are we going to progress?
Yeah, exactly right. And imagine if this cancel culture was around 100, 200 years ago. You would probably find some of the greatest people in history did some acts that you might class as irredeemable. Now, I'm quite sure if we go back in American history, quite a few presidents were probably slave owners.
Definitely slave owners.
Yeah.
But
but
you know what? That at the time, that was how people lived.
Yeah.
Not making excuses. Obviously, nobody wants to be a slave. But slavery didn't begin 130 years ago. It's been around for however many generations past then, beyond then.
Well,
And,
tens of thousands of years, and it's still around now, unfortunately, in
it's
countries.
more apparent now than any time in history.
Yeah.
Why are we, I mean, obviously we need to highlight this sort of stuff because it's a massive issue currently in our society. But instead of, focusing so much on the negative, why are we not focusing on getting the people that are actually in slavery today out of it? Like we literally focusing all our energy on people from the past. Yet there's people currently as you sit now, in some slave trade around the world.
And then if we have, I guess like you got a famous example, Jimmy Fallon or Jimmy Kimmel.
One of them.
Yeah, one of those guys who had either did blackface or something like that. And then this is international news, If we're hearing about it here in Australia, it's international news. Yet where are those things like those slave trade? Where is that? And I'm pretty sure Syria was quite bad with slavery through all the conflicts recently. Where's all that? It's not like it's disappeared. Why are we focusing on these celebrity types or, and even not even celebrity types, these issues from people within normal workplaces might say something on Twitter. What is it? Another big one, you might misgender someone. And that's just a real crazy bad thing to do apparently these days, even if it's just a really honest mistake on your behalf.
Well, the thing is you can't make mistakes. Like, regardless of if you did it on purpose or you did it by mistake, you have the same consequence, which is, there's a difference. It's all context. At the end of the day, you can tell someone to F off in a friendly way or in a mean way.
Yeah.
You can call someone an idiot in a friendly way or in a mean way. It's context behind the word.
Yeah, very true.
And a lot of people just they just completely ignore the context of that specific word, and they go straight for the worst case scenario, that this person is this and there's no other way. And it doesn't matter that they had a 40-year history beyond that in terms of, I don't know, they could have been adopted kids and, puppy shelter, volunteer their time. That doesn't matter because they said this one word, they're automatically the worst thing in the world.
Yeah. And then the power of technology these days, that person will get, their identity can be all over the world within a minute.
Well, that's half the problem. So when we didn't have this technology, we had the issues in our communities, but they stayed in the communities, and the communities themselves were forced to look inwards to fix their problems. Whereas now, all these issues, they're just outwardly projected, and nothing actually ever gets fixed. Everyone's always marching through the streets. What does marching through the streets do? Why aren't we constructively sitting down and discussing these issues without getting offended, mind you, because it always seems to stop at an offense and nothing gets done. It just makes people even more divisive towards each other, and it just creates even more issues. Like I think the world's more divisive now than it has been since I've been alive, at least. I don't remember a time in my 31 and a half years of us being this sort of segregated into specific ways of thinking.
Yeah, and also I guess the classes of people, like where we're opening up now to, we briefly mentioned the misgendered. There's now more than two genders. We know countries now have created laws where it's actually illegal now. I don't know if it's illegal to misgender or it's illegal to misidentify someone. So, and I believe that's in Canada.
But what happens if you're coming to Canada now, for example, from a very conservative country, like, I don't know, somewhere in Eastern Europe, and you supposedly misgender or misidentify somebody? Does that make you a bad person? I don't think it does.
No, I don't think it does either. But as we said, unfortunately, I think the main reaction to this and the social media reaction to this is you are a terrible person then. And I think this is to do with it as well. people that will just try to put something on the internet that they know will get them either likes or more followers, whatever they can to get attention onto them and their account, even if it's at the extreme expense of someone else's life.
Well, yeah, that's it. It's unfortunately, it's a lot of selfish gain as well, because it's faceless. You remember, like, if you scroll through Twitter, I don't think any of us have ever had Twitter before.
No, I've never had Twitter before, no.
You know, if like, I think how it works is you can just type in anyone's address or their name or their handle, whatever it's called, and you can just keep going back in the history and you can find something offensive. Like, if you go looking for something, you'll find it.
Well, that's the classic. It's it's a confirmation bias, isn't it? If you want a fact to be true, you can find a fact that will support you, because the internet is so vast now. Anything you want to be proven true, basically,
just type it into Google.
Yeah, and it'll come up for you. There's someone out there written an article about it that will support what you think.
I'll give you a hint. Put brackets before and after to search for your word, and it'll go find that exact same phrase.
That's a very good search. There. Yeah, very good university level searching technique.
That's it. Use Google. What's a Pub Scholar? What was it, PubMed or what are those? I don't know. I can't remember. Google Scholar.
Yeah, I think it's Google Scholar, actually, from memory.
Yeah, it's been a while. There you go. Well, 51 minutes.
Yeah, I think that's pretty good.
Fast, hasn't it?
Yeah, I didn't think it'd been that long. Because we've got, obviously, this is our first episode, as we mentioned before, so we're still learning it. But yeah, we just chat and it goes on.
Yeah, and this is like, if you were listening earlier, this is pretty much what happens. You know, we sit down and time flies by, and before you know it, 3 hours have gone by. You look at your phone, you've got X amount of missed calls and messages. You know, the cops are looking for you. No, sort of a lost persons division is out looking for you. And meanwhile, you're just sitting under a bench, under a tree on a bench, and just letting talking away the world's issues and watching the world go by. There's nothing better. I can honestly say that from the bottom of my heart. If you've got a good friend, or even a few good mates, just get them all every Sunday or Saturday or whenever you guys are free. Lock in a time. Tell everybody this is the time that I'll be away. Don't make plans, because the plan is that you're going to be on the bench every weekend.
Yeah, and I think that's a great sign off. So we'll stop it there. Thank you, Dave.
Yeah, no worries. No, thank you.